Hi, Waukesha Police Department. This is David Matthews. I'm the programmer that uh, created the touch panel that layout that's being used in the training room, the Chiefs conference room, and the roll call downstairs. The basic, I want to give you guys a basic tutorial on how to use that touch panel um, to hopefully navigate and be able to control whatever you need to in the new systems that we did for you guys. When you come to the touch panel, the room is when the room is in off state, it'll look like this with the City of Waukesha Police Department logo in the middle, and the text will say touch screen to begin. So if we do that, we're going to see a system is starting up text as well as status bar along the bottom as the system boots up. Um, this is the main interface that you'll encounter. And the first tab on the left is for presentation. If I select the other tabs, it will change all the controls in the main area of the touch panel. But this is where you're going to start out. And then the next column will be the destination column. And the first selection that's going to be selected by default is the send everywhere uh, selection. So that should be hopefully very intuitive and easy to use for most meetings that you guys will have. So you'll essentially boot the system up by touching the touchscreen and then come over here to this select a source area in the middle and choose whatever it is that you want to view on the displays and hear through the audio in the room. And that's really it. You'll see it, the text, the yellow text, which is kind of what is routed to that destination, will change in real time as I'm selecting sources. If you need to do more advanced routing for whatever reason, let's say you want to grab the room PC and send that to the 85-inch, and then maybe on the north and south you want to run Roku. As you can see, I'm demonstrating how to do that. You just select the display that you want, and then select the source that you want routed there. One thing to be aware of is when you do start to route things individually like this, the last selection at the bottom of this list that is scrollable is audio to the speakers. So we may want to you need to be aware of that. Like if you are sending the desktop and the room PC and the Solstice to different displays, whichever one of those sources that you actually want to hear through the speakers, you need to route to this audio to speakers. That's taken care of automatically when you have send everywhere selected. So if I select the Roku, it's automatically going to the speakers down here. The next tab is camera controls. So you have the rear camera, the front camera, and you have PTZ controls, pan, tilt, zoom, via these arrows and this plus and minus over to the right. You can select a preset in this list on the bottom. If you need to move the camera to a new location to save a preset, you just press and hold a preset until you see the text change that says preset saved right there. And then the active state of the button of the preset will change as well. One thing to note, the cameras as well as the microphones in the ceiling are only accessible to the room PC. So the room PC has a USB connected for each of the cameras and one to the audio device that connects to the microphones. And so just so you're aware that those, if you try to run a Teams meeting or something from your laptop, maybe connected at the podium, you really wouldn't be able to access those microphones as well as the cameras in the room. They're kind of exclusive at this point, in the design to the room PC. So going back to our list here on the left, settings is the next tab, which gives you audio controls. And you'll see this top one is in yellow because that is a text that will change depending on whatever you have selected um, as the audio source for the room. And so, but if you need to individually um, change that level a little bit, you have some controls available right here for that. So if I wanted maybe the Roku was a little too loud in comparison with the wireless mics, I could just bump that down a little bit or bump the microphones up a little bit. Shouldn't normally need to do that, but the controls are there in case there's a scenario where that's helpful. While we're talking about audio controls, you'll see on the bottom right corner of the touch panel are some uh, of the master audio controls for the room. The first button that we see is a microphone button, and that is to mute the speakers in the ceiling. It'll also mute the wireless microphones. So when this is red, the LEDs will also show red on the ceiling microphones. And then there's a speaker mute, and that's in case like maybe you're listening to Roku and you just want to mute that, uh, because you have some conversations going on and you just want to see the video from it. You can just hit that mute. That's going to mute everything coming out of the speakers. This slider is to adjust the volume, the overall volume level in the room. So that's going to include the Roku if that was routed, as well as the wireless mics. If together they all need to come up or come down, that's what this control is here. The next tab we have in the second column is display power. So if for any reason, if you needed to individually turn off or on a display, that's what these buttons are for. Um, our last tab then is room combining on the left. And so you have the ability in the training room to combine with the Chiefs conference room as well as the crime analyst room. So if I do combine these on this control page right here, and then I go back to present, you'll see that both the sources are expanded as well as the destinations. So if I scroll through this list, I'm going to see right after my audio to speakers, I'm going to see the Chiefs West display, East display, North display, South display, and that's the audio to the speakers and the Chiefs, and then the 4 displays in the crime analyst area. Now they work the same as as far as like send everywhere. I can do that. But I can also individually route these. So let's say we want to send the solstice to the Chiefs, or sorry, to all the displays in the training room, but then we want to use another solstice for the Chiefs. So then we can select solstice 2 for that, etc. That's just the method to individually route stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. So the last thing on the touch panel to talk about would be the power button in the bottom right. If you hit that, it's going to bring up a confirmation, just in case maybe you bump that button and when you were adjusting the volume or something like that and you didn't mean to, you can hit the cancel and return. Or if you hit this power button and then you just leave it, after 120 seconds, it's going to automatically shut down. Or you can hit the shutdown confirm button, which will actually trigger the shutdown sequence. That is really the entire touch panel. Now, there are a couple advanced features that are accessible via the settings button. So normally when you hit the settings button, you're going to see 2 tabs, display power and audio control. If you press and hold that for 3 seconds, some additional selections will populate in this second column here. The first of which is Crestron info. It's going to be helpful maybe if you ever did experience some problems and you needed to talk to tech support. It's an easy way for them to gather information on what the firmware is in the processor, who the programmer was, what the source file that's running on it is. The next tab is dynamic strings. Let's say you wanted to change the name of the room. I'm going to change it back to training. You just type that text right here, hit the store new room name, and you'll see on the top there the text changed. If we wanted to change the names of the presets, like to something more uh, specific, you can do that by just typing the text in there and then selecting the preset that you want to set that text to. Kind of the last thing is there's an auto startup and an auto shutdown built into the programming. And so let's say you notice, man, people are leaving the TVs on and we want to just enable auto shutdown at like 12 a.m. or 11 p.m. or whatever it might be. First thing you do is enable that function, set the time that you want, and then select the days of the week that you want, and then that's just automatically going to run. So the last thing is just shut the room down, and which like is going to be a normal function. You get in here, select your source, it runs everywhere. When you're done with the meeting, just hit that power button, hit the shutdown now, and the system will shut down, the microphones will mute, and the displays will turn off. So that's really it. Hopefully this is helpful and useful for you guys. Thanks. Bye.